But the misconception is people think that if I just start lifting weights, I go in the gym, I try and do heavy deadlifts and squats, and I'm going to bulk up overnight. And that's just a myth. That's not going to happen.
Welcome back to this week's episode of It Takes Grit, your favorite podcast. And guess what? I've got my favorite sibling on the line today, my one and only sibling, and that's why he's my favorite, James Smudge Smith. Welcome to the It Takes Grit podcast.
What's up? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, how do you feel? Is this your first podcast?
First ever podcast. We do a lot of talking, so I guess it's the same thing, right? So we talk every day anyway, so this is probably just it. We're going to record it and throw it out there.
Same thing, really. Which is really funny is that there's so many people now that do vlogs. What you don't know, everybody who's listening, is that James and I were the original, the OG vloggers.
I know, right? Because everyone's always doing stories now and everything like that. You always do stories. I'm like, well, I've actually been doing that since I was 4 years old anyway, going to Florida and recording videos. So it's not really anything new for me and you doing this.
No, and I did used to drag James into doing my videos, and I used to tell him what to do and what to say. And we're going to talk a little bit about our childhood and growing up, but I really am going to focus this episode because James has got a master's degree, all right, in sports science, exercise physiology. How do you say the word? I'm doing a James now.
Exercise physiology.
Physiology.
I can't say I'm bad with words, but you might be just as worse.
I think I'm just as worse. That is one of our traits, is pronunciation. I'm terrible at pronouncing things, which is why I was always terrible at other languages. So we're going to talk through loads of things about fitness today. We're talking about hitting plateaus, the common misconception about bulking, and actually how hard it is to gain lean muscle, and how do you bulk? How does it happen? And then I'll be quizzing James on some things that we were doing when we grew up. So yeah, this is kind of like a more adult version of our vlogs and the stories that we would make up. So James and I used to come to America. It would be our favorite places to visit. Growing up as a kid, mom and dad would ask us, where do you want to go? And we want to go to Florida. I think we went to Florida about, 5 times before we moved over here?
Yeah. It was always like every 4 years, because we'd have to all save up. We'd have to save up. It wasn't like, we're going to go to America again this year. It's like, no, we're going to wait another 4 years to save up. So I don't know how many times it was over the spell, 3-4 times probably.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 or 4 times. I think I had one extra one than you, because otherwise I went when I was 3 years old. But yeah, so we have been coming to America. Now both of us live over here, despite our parents not so happy about that. We both decided, is it coming up to 10 years for you too? Because I feel like we came at the same time.
10 years, yeah.
10 years ago. Crazy. All right. So guys, if you don't know, this is my brother, James Smith. You can go and follow him on his Instagram. I'm going to put all his details below. Super, super knowledgeable. I am the face and the one that talks, but James is actually the one that has got all of the knowledge. He's much smarter than I am. And actually is very book smart. So let's talk about, first of all, is the myth and bulking up, because especially girls, I mean, you work with female clients as well. It's like they're so worried about bulking up and putting on, and getting chunky, not even putting on muscle, but like getting too big. Talk to us about why that's not true, how hard it is to bulk up, and what you actually need to do, the amount of calories you have to do to bulk up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a personal standpoint, I know how hard it is to bulk up, right? Because it always depends on your body type as well. Okay, so, before you're going to look at, looking at a fitness regime, or you want to do a body transformation, you want to work out what body type you are, right? So there's 3 different body types, ectomorph, mesomorph, and an endomorph. And it basically looks at your body, how skinny you are, maybe you've got a little extra body fat, but everyone's like one specific body type. And that often correlates with your genes, right? So genetics do play a key role, by the way. Genetics play a massive role, and what's important to understand is what sort of genetics do you have, from your mom, from your dad. Personally from me, I've got all of dad's genes. I've got all of my dad's genes. An ectomorph, which means he's very slight, very good as a runner, right? So for me, growing up, it was always difficult to gain lean muscle. Right? I could eat whatever I want and I wouldn't gain a single pound. Right? You know, Jess, on the other hand, Jess has to really take care of how much she eats and her portion size and control. So when Jess and I have dinner, my plate looks very different to hers. Okay, but one misconception that we often have is that people want to tone, right? Everyone loves the word tone, okay, which is simply gaining some extra muscle mass and reducing your body fat. And in order to gain lean muscle mass, you have to lift weight or do some sort of strength training. You know, at first it might just be some body weight, you know, some push-ups, some squats, or something like that. In order to, you know, tone, increase your muscle mass, look a bit more definition, you've got to increase your muscle mass. And to do that, you've got to put your body under some sort of stress, okay? Which is why strength training is a great way of doing it. Because what you're ultimately going to do, you're going to sort of break down your muscle fibers in order for them to build up stronger than what they were before, okay? But the misconception is people think that if I just start lifting weights, I go in the gym, I try and do heavy deadlifts and squats, and I'm going to bulk up overnight. And that's just a myth. That's not going to happen. You know, like I said, I know firsthand how difficult it is because I have to go through a really strict training program, a really strict diet program where I'm getting the right amount of calories throughout the day, and I'm following a really strict strength training program. But like I said, the biggest thing is the calories. I make sure I'm getting the calories in. But by thinking that you're going to bulk up overnight by lifting weights is just not true. It's just not true. So I want to make sure people, you know, really understand that. And strength training and strength is such a key factor in your fitness program, especially as you get older, okay? Because strength correlates to so many different things. Balance, right? You know, the less muscle mass we have, we're going to, you know, be maybe less balanced. You know, it's going to help strengthen your bones. It's going to help when you're carrying the groceries in from the car. It's so many little things that are so important and people neglect it, okay? So, you know, I even did a study how strength training helps improve your heart health. All right, so things like that, including your, you know, improving your heart muscle. So I did lots of things like that during my studies, and it wasn't until I actually got to graduate school that I realized how important it was, because that's where they really focused on their training.
And so what would you say is like a heavy weight? Because even when I say to some of my clients, like, you know, doing deadlifts with, you know, 20 pounds in each hand, like, even that's not a heavy weight. I think we go like, oh, we're just going to start off with like 2-3 pounds. I mean, like, that's nothing. You hold babies that are heavier than that. You hold groceries that's heavier than that. So it's like heavy weight is like hundreds of pounds. Like, that's what we're talking about, heavy weight. Heavy weight is not a 5-pound weight, a 10-pound weight.
Yeah, so obviously heavy weight is different for everyone, right? And of course, whenever you're doing strength training or starting a weight training or lifting program, it's all about your technique. It's about, are you lifting the correct way, making sure you're not doing things wrong, and really focusing on that technique and getting that down. And then you start to build up the weight. But when we talk about strength training, okay, we talk about lifting 80% of our 1 rep max. So 1 rep max is the highest weight you can do 1 rep. So let's say we're doing squat, all right? And maybe your 1 rep max of a squat is at 100 pounds back squat, right? Barbell back squat, 100 pounds 1 rep max, which means you can do 1 rep of 100 pounds and no more. Once you've done 1 rep, that's done. So if you want to do strength training, you've got to work around your 80% rep range and doing sort of 3 to 5 reps, okay? So 80% of 100 is 80 pounds, okay? So in order to do a strength training program, we'll be doing 3 to 5 reps of 80 pounds on a squat. And that's what strength training is. Now, as you start to, if you want to do more reps, you've obviously got to reduce the weight. Okay, so you'll be targeting a different type of fitness. So that's what we talk about heavy. You know, 80%, about 65 to 80% of your 1 rep max.
Right, and then so how often should you increase your weights?
So you want to look at how many, as you do that weight, you have to do that weight maybe 2 or 3 weeks to start to get it a little bit easier, right? And then you realize, hold on a minute, I could start to do a couple more reps. You know, you're doing 5 sets of that specific weight, maybe 80 pounds, and you're going, hold on a minute, I could do 2 to 3 more reps. At that moment is when you've got to increase that weight. Okay. So as the weight gets easier, you know, you feel like you're not challenging you enough. That's when you can start to increase the weight. And, you know, moving on to another section, the reason why we do that is because we want to continue to put our body under a new stress in order to challenge it and get better. Okay? So we like to say something, nothing changes if nothing changes. That's what we often do, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want something you don't have, you've got to do something you've never had, never done, right? So increasing that weight every 2 to 3 weeks is important, and that's what we call progressive overload. So progressive overload is the key word there. As we get through a training program, we just increase the weight every 2 to 3 weeks. Again, really focus on the technique. I want to highlight that, the technique.
Right. So I always feel like if the last couple of reps are not that challenging, it's time to there's a really simple way. If you're like, hey, I just don't know. But if you're just going through reps like crazy and you're not really feeling it the last 2, 3, then it's time. And if you have not changed your weight in the last month and you're doing a workout 3 times a week, it's like a definite, we want to increase those weights. And you're not going to bulk up. You're not. And you're not just going to wake up one morning and be like, oh my goodness, I'm like the Incredible Hulk. You will see your body changing. And that goes into the next question, James. I know that you recently, at the beginning of this year, over Christmas, you gained 30 pounds of lean muscle. How long did it take you to do that? And how consistent did you have to be?
I have to be really consistent because, for me, I burn calories by looking at them. Right? That's my body type. Okay, remember we said my body type is an ectomorph, which means I'm quite slight. Right? So in order for me to gain lean muscle and gain weight, I've got to really increase my calories gradually. I'm not going to just go 3,000-4,000 calories straight away. Gradually increase my calorie intake and really stick to a consistent strength training program. Okay, which includes a lot of power lifts, a lot of compound movements. Now I'm getting into really technical words, compound movements such as squat, bench press, those kind of movements. And then towards the end of my training, toward the end of my exercise day program would be like bicep curls, tricep extension, the smaller exercises, right? So you've got big exercises, your squats, your deadlifts, your bench press, and then the smaller exercises like your bicep curls, tricep extensions, that kind of thing. And I had to stick to a really consistent plan. When I say really consistent, it was lifting, I was lifting weights 4 to 5 times a week. Probably five times a week. But it wasn't go heavy every single day. It's maybe Monday is a push day. I push, so I'm pushing my weight, right? And then a Tuesday will be a pull day, so I'm pulling my weight. Okay, so think of those kind of type of exercises. And I would split it up each day, push, pull, alternating. And the reason why I invest is because you want to be using different muscle types each day. So if you want to get a big chest, you think maybe I'll go in the gym every day and just do bench press every single day. But you're going to wear that muscle group down. You're going to wear it down, it's going to get fatigued, it's not going to rebuild. Okay? So that's why we like to break it up each day. And I was very consistent over my plan. I've missed the gym so much. We're still in North Carolina, we're still closed. So I'm missing the gym a lot. But if I had, 2, 3, 4, 5 days off, I would really start to feel like I'm losing my progress. So it was really important to stick to it every day. And then in terms of nutrition, that was key. That's key. Because if you're not getting all the calories in, then you're not going to gain weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is I don't know how much muscle did you gain?
I gained 30 pounds.
You gained 30 pounds?
Yeah.
How much do you feel like you've lost because of?
So I got up to 170 and I'm about 155 now. So I dropped, I did drop weight. And
I think that's a really great thing to be honest and open with. It's I lost the 20 pounds because you weren't consistent again, because one, you don't just want to be eating food. If you want to gain weight, right, muscle, yes, you need to eat the calories, but if you're not going out in the gym, it's just going to be fat. Right. So, James had to be like, right now I can't, the gyms are literally not open. So, now I've lost that 20 pounds, but that just shows how consistent you have to be and to be able to maintain that, what you have to do. So I feel like what lessons have you learned from those? Is it shown you more about oh my goodness, consistency really is key. And when something comes, you can lose it again.
It first of all gave me the belief that I could do it. And that was really important because like I said, growing up, I struggled to gain a pound. So that gave me the belief. I know now when I start my program again and I'm start lifting weights, I know I can do it. I've got no issues with that. I get straight back into it and I've got the belief that I can do that. But what else I learned, I learned in regards to what I need to do lifting wise, my progressive overload is really important. But I know going back into it, I have to stick to my snacks, my meals, my shakes. And it's difficult at times, right? my goal is to gain weight. So I've got to eat more food than what I was doing before. And sometimes that's very difficult. You know, people say I struggle to lose weight because I just want to eat. But I struggle to gain weight because all I have to do is eat throughout the day. Okay, so making sure I'm eating the right things as well. You know, yes, I have some treats here and there to make sure I get the calories in, but I try and keep my bulk as clean as possible. Thankfully, you can do that with the right type of food. You can do that with making sure you get your vegetables in, and also some top quality supplements as well to help along the way. So that's what I've learned along, you know, through that journey, is that one, I have the belief that I know what to do now and I can go and do it. Two, I know what it's going to take, and I know the weights that I need to do. I've got the program set, and I'm ready to get back in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing is too, is like, you know, when you really explain this well, is that weight loss isn't linear. So if somebody's looking to lose weight right now, and they maybe have lost a pound 1 week and then nothing the next week, and then the next week is 5 pounds, why does that happen? And how does somebody stay on track when they've gone through a week and they haven't lost any weight, but they've done the same thing as they've done the week before?
Yeah, it's never smooth sailing. Like weight loss, weight gain, like entrepreneurship, it's never, maybe it's up, down again, up, down again. The reason why is because we're regular people living a regular life, okay? So, you know, we go out with our husbands and wives, we go out with our families, we have birthday parties, we go on vacation for a week or so. So you have to be okay and understand it's not going to be smooth sailing. It never is. You know, and if it was, everyone would do it and everyone would succeed in it. But the difference between people is how they bounce back from having a bad couple of days, how they bounce back from gaining a pound when they lost 5 pounds, you know, during the last few weeks, right? So it's all about how you see it, how you see the end picture. So I always recommend to my clients to have the end goal in mind. Okay, have the end goal in mind. I also tell them that one bad meal is not going to make you fat. Like one salad is not going to give you abs the next day. Okay, so knowing that you've had a bad meal is fine. It's no problem. That meal, if you're trying to lose weight, that bad meal can't turn into 2, 3, 4, 5 meals throughout the week. Okay, one little tip that Jess does. Jess loves flatbread, chicken fingers, fries, wine. So what she'll do, she'll tell herself, okay, on Friday, I'm going to have flatbread, chicken fingers, and fries, which means throughout this week, I need to be on it to give myself a reward at the end of it. She has that reward. She knows what she wants at the end of it. And that satisfies her, right? When it gives her the belief that she can get through, she's got a goal she's got to set out. She also knows that what she has to do each day to get through that day. And it just engraves in her mind, right? So that's why that's a really good tip, is to plan where you want to have this meal, this treat, or whatever it is, plan it, and then build up to it throughout the week. And second of all, if you hit a little bit of a plateau, it's just time to change something. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting to get results. So at times you're about to change something. It could be your weight. It could be you got to, if you're a runner or something like that, maybe you got to increase your speed, or you got to run a little bit longer or something like that. You've got to change something. You've got to adjust something, increase your weight, increase the intensity, increase the time. Right? Lots of different things that you can do to make your workout harder if you go through a plateau, and you've got to just up your game. It's simple as that. You've got to up your game.
Yeah, it's so true. You've always got to up your game. If you want something more, you got to do something more. So we were talking earlier before we got on this podcast about science-based overload, and then the mindset too. You said like the old model was like go, 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 but now you add we're talking about overloading the workouts. Can you explain that to us? Yeah,
so I was so fortunate to get educated by incredible people at school, by some of the best sports scientists in the world, Olympic coaches. I was an athlete myself in graduate school, so I was a little bit different to the other students, where the other students were more working directly with athletes, okay? Whereas I was the athlete, still on a team, still playing college soccer, and I had people working with me. And that's what I've always loved. I've always been a player, and I love being a player, a soccer player. So I saw the aspect of them coaching me through it, right? And what I learned was, we hear the old school traditional method of mental toughness, and you got to run, you got to go and run 10 miles a day before your game on a Saturday, or something like that. You got to really get into it. Whereas the new model now is the sport and fitness and athletics and professional sport is so science oriented, which means the whole week is planned. How much work the athlete's doing, how much weight are they lifting in the gym? They're wearing GPS monitors on the back now, which tells them during training if they're running too much or if they're doing too much. I think there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance of you improve your mental toughness as a team, and there has to be a balance of, okay, we've done enough training, now we need to stop, we need to rest and recover so we can go again the next day. There has to be a balance in between that. Because if you're just going, oh, we need to stop and protect you now, we're doing too much. What happens when it comes to game time, and they're running 70 minutes, oh, I'm a little bit tired now, I've got to stop. No, you've got 20 more minutes left in the game. If the other team says that, they can die down, you can go and get them. If you're saying that, the other team's just going to jump on that. And I always try and relate it back to real life. Okay, so I talk about athletes there because my degree was based around with athletics. I try and always bring it back to real life. So can you have the mindset and the knowledge to know when you need to stop and when you need to push yourself to keep going, right? So knowing when to stop. Maybe you're at a party and there's a chips and dip or whatever, and you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and you have that mental toughness. Say no, enough's enough. Is it when you're in the gym? I was doing squats, 3 sets of 5. It's getting quite easy. It wasn't really challenging me on the 5th rep. Okay, now's the time I'm going to put some extra weight on and make it a little bit tougher. Maybe you're doing a mile, and your last 3/4 of a mile was nice and easy. Okay, now it's time to up the pace. Can you reduce your time? So it's finding that balance of knowing when you're mentally, really need to push through, and when your body definitely needs a rest. So I think finding that balance is really important.
Yeah, and I do think it depends, what environment you're in. But most of the time people go, oh, I'm feeling a bit sore, I'm going to rest. And this is not the message that we're going to give you, right? This is not the message that we're trying to give the audience. It is like if you're an athlete, right? And you are going, or if you're somebody that just goes super hard in the gym, it's knowing that balance. But we're not saying, hey, if you're feeling a little bit tired, stop. No. You need to really understand when to go and when not to go. And it also depends on the results that you're looking for and what you're currently doing at that moment in time. I know there's been times, in my business where I've just had to go, and I know I'm freaking exhausted, but I know the end line. I know when I'm going to have a rest. And you can even see it in my diary. I think like October right now, it just says sleep. It says sleep because of my app's out, the book's out, we're done pros team, all those things. It's like literally that's when I'm going to sleep. So it's being smart about when you need to go, because if you're in a momentum right now, if you're in your nutrition plan and you're losing weight and you're working out and things are going great, don't start going, oh, well, should I be resting more, right? It's knowing when, it's like what you said, James, it's having the knowledge of knowing when to go and also scheduling in your rests. I think that's really important.
So, in regards to scheduling, I think that's great, right? So I'm going back to an athlete again. So what we would do is, let's say we play a game on a Tuesday and we play a game on a Saturday. We know that we're going to train pretty light on a Monday. We're going to have the game on a Tuesday. Then we're going to rest on the Wednesday. Then we're going to go hard in training on Thursday. Lighter session on Friday. So we're going hard in the game on Saturday, and then we're resting on Sunday. So that's good. Plan out the week. When's your hard workout going to be? When's your lighter workout going to be? When you're going to have some extra sleep? Plan. I think that's a great idea to plan it out every single week.
Yeah, and when we're talking about rest, it's not like you just do nothing. It's like you go for a brisk walk. It's light stuff, because movement is medicine. Remember, you still want to move your body every single day because you just feel good. So we'll touch real quick on recovery, and then we're going to go into some mindset stuff because it's funny. We're both part of the same company. We both work together now. You've got the Hell Nutrition. You've got another nutrition club opening as well. And that's so cool. But talk to me real quick about recovery, what you do to recover. And then we're going to go talk about the ice showers. Yeah.
So recovery, first of all, nutrition, I believe, plays a massive role in recovery. Making sure you're getting the right amount of protein and carbohydrates. Don't neglect carbohydrates. I just don't get it. That's our primary source of energy. So, if you're not getting carbs, your brain's not getting fuel. So make that a massive key to recovery. We'll talk about ice in a minute. Again, sleep. When's the right time to get to sleep? There's a great book, Own Your Day. Jess is reading right now, and she's going through all of it right now. Really good things in there that I recommend. Those kind of things. Like I said, you want to get onto ice, what I do?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, we're going to go into a little bit of like your routine. James is very OCD, very methodical with everything. And, I've spoken about the ice bath stuff. Obviously, I've had the Dr. Tricia Smith on, and I will also do ice showers. I love it. Even in the morning, if it's just for a quick 30 seconds, like getting myself under cold water, it makes a difference. But I know that you were doing it for a long period of time. What are the effects? What's good about it? How does it help your mental clarity?
So as a, again, as an athlete, we would be required to have an ice bath after every single training session, every single game. Now, there's studies that support ice baths, there's studies that don't support ice baths. The reason why I support an ice bath or an ice shower is because whenever I have one, I feel better after. Whether that's actually because of my muscles are recovering or I just mentally feel fresher, I feel better. So every morning now, I went through a challenge in December. I had an app on my phone, like cold shower therapy, where I was going to do a cold shower every single day for five minutes. And it was just, it was a good challenge, and I felt better after it. So it's just something I continued to do that I do now every single morning, and in the evening as well. And it doesn't get any easier. I think that's the thing. Just because I do it every single day, it doesn't get any easier. I don't turn the shower on and be like, yes, here we go, I get to have a cold shower, can't wait. I don't like it, I don't enjoy it. But I know once I've done it, one, I feel more refreshed. But second thing is okay, it's first thing in the morning and I've already conquered one thing. I've already conquered something that I didn't want to do. I've already done something that I didn't want to do, make me feel uncomfortable. So I've done that. And it gives me a win, similar to the bed. I have to have the bed made. I have to have the bed made every day. It gives me another win of the day. I feel like I collect these points back throughout the day, and it might just be in my own head, but I think that's what's really important, is that you find these wins every single day, whether it's, as you're walking out of your apartment or your house, are you smiling at your neighbors? Are you waving at your neighbors? You're holding the door for people. You're doing these kind of little things throughout the day that are going to really impact your mood, how you're acting that day. So those are kind of things in my morning routine as well.
Yeah, and I love that. It's definitely something that I do, and we did a challenge in March as well for the whole Burn members as well. So I want you to talk us through your journey of starting, because obviously you played for a professional soccer team. How you got scouted, how that started, and what that environment drilled into you. Because I'm a big advocate that if, we were actually had a motivation live the other day, and, we were talking about what you need to boost, sometimes you need, people who are maybe going through mental illness or depression, they need, prescriptions to boost their mood. Well, it's what else could you have to boost your mood? Could it be your environment? Could it be your food? Could it be, the people, all these things. So I really feel like motivation and, how you are each day is a product of your environment. And I want you to talk and share your story about what happened at, 7 years old when you got scouted, all the way through until, what happened at the end with how, it turned out, how you came to America. And then I'm going to touch on a little bit about how we work together and the nutrition company that we work with, and obviously our team and how we've evolved together as brother and sister and business partners as well. But I just want people to get a recap of your journey so that they can see how you have this ingrained motivation and determination inside you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, growing up in England, it's every young boy and even every young girl now, right? With women's football getting bigger and bigger around the world, which I absolutely love. It was always that dream of being a professional football player. That's what everyone wants to do, right? Everyone wants to do. So, I was fortunate enough to be scouted when I was 7 years old to sign for a professional team, and gradually went through the ranks. And in England, at that time, you graduated school at 16, graduate high school at 16. You either go into an apprenticeship, which I think is great, apprenticeship, mastering a trade, or you go to college to get some more grades to get into university. Or what I did, I went straight into full-time football. So I was there for 2 years as an apprentice, as a young player from the age of 6. So I started when I was 7, signed a full-time contract when I was 16. That's great. You're earning £70 a week, playing football, £70 a week or £280 a month is amazing, right? It's absolutely incredible. You could earn some money playing football. And it was, some of the best times of my life, right? But being in that environment from the age of 7 years old to 18, when I was 7 years old, you're getting told straight away that there's no friends in football, and there's no friends. You're just acquaintances, and you're just people that you're there. Yes, it's a team game, but it gets to the older you get, more people get cut. Teams start teams looking elsewhere for players. So it's a very competitive environment. So if you're not screwed in and dialed in mentally, it's game over straight away. So I was told straight away that if you're not on it, someone's going to be ready to come in and take your place. If you're not working hard, they'll bring someone else to come in and work hard. Right? If someone comes in that's better than you, you're going to be out. And that's at the age of 7 years old. You know, so you're told straight away that if you're not on it and consistently trying to better yourself and get better and contribute, then it's not going to work. So that's where the hard work got engraved in. I was so fortunate to be around some incredible people, incredible coaches at that team, and really, you know, pushed me into a leader of who I hope to be am today. And then as you get to, you know, 16, 17 years old, it gets even more competitive, right? Because then you start getting pro contracts, professional contracts. And there's more money involved, you know, and when there's more money involved, it gets even more complicated, right? So when I was 18, I was offered a professional contract. And again, it whittles down to 4 or 5 people, right? So it gets smaller and smaller. And I did a 1-year professional contract, which I was so proud about. You know, it was one of my dad's favorite ever days. So doing that was great. But again, it was the competitive nature that every single day, yes, you were in a team environment, but you're actually not, because you're fighting for that position. And then you come up against, you know, older players as well, who they're now fighting for their position, because if they don't get their position, they don't get the money to pay the bills for their families at home to feed the kids, right? So it gets so competitive. And I was just taught straight away that if you're not good enough, you don't work hard, you're out. So that's what I've now got in my head now. You know, I'm such a believer in everyone has a talent. Everyone has a talent. We talk about body types earlier, right? Ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph, whatever. If it's in sport, you've got a talent. Doesn't matter who you are, what type of person you are, what body type you are, you've got something. The only thing that separates people, the successful people and the unsuccessful people, is their work rate and their willingness and their grit. That's the only thing that I believe separates people, because everyone's got something. You know, I'm not special. You're not special compared to other people. We're just normal people that have got a bit of grit, I believe so. So I was engraved from a young age to continuously work hard and go after it, really, because no one's going to give it to you.
And tell people, how many injuries did you have during that time that you had to come back from?
I've done loads of it. You know, I've broken my leg. I've done 2 knees. I came out to America and went to college in America and played there. Knee injuries, foot injuries, toe injuries, broken hand, concussions. And it never put me off the game, like ever. It's just, okay, I'll get back, come back stronger. And that's why I got into sports science and exercise physiology, to be honest, because I was so fascinated about how the body works and how the body adapts and how it gets better, and so on. So yeah, lots of injuries, but that's part of it. That's part of it. It is. You know, you've got to accept it.
Yeah, and I feel like you really did have more injuries than the most person. I remember when you got your pro contract, you then did your ACL for the second time.
I dislocated. That was a dislocated
knee.
Yeah, I did do that one. Forgot about that one.
I remember when I was on the hockey pitch, and Dad shouted over because Dad was at a hockey match with me. Mum was at your football game. We're about to like, you know, push back for the second part, and he calls over, James has broken his leg. I was like, what are you telling me this for? I was like, shit, mate. So I remember like having to play the second half of game, knowing that you were like, I think you were 11. You know, you'd really broken your leg. It was horrible. I remember coming to the hospital with you. And so then what happened after you got the year's pro?
So then, you know, I did a year there, and then wasn't offered another contract. So, you know, I was at a club from 7 years old to 19, and then, you know, learned so much. I learned so much there, made in time, and then time to move on, right? Just got to do something different.
How did you feel when that first happened? Do you remember the first thing? Obviously, you were 19 years old, so a very different person than you are today. You know, things have happened to me at 19 where I would react. Would you remember how you felt? Were you angry?
Yeah, I was gutted.
Mad?
Absolutely, I was gutted, of course. You know, not really angry, just really disappointed. But, you know, again, I look back now and it's just the way it is, right? I now think how fortunate I was to be able to been there for that amount of time. That's how I am now. I'm grateful that I was there, learned so much, met amazing people, been around some amazing players, and just helped me. And I used that fire to spur me on to go further. And then I came out to America.
Yeah, and I think that's an important, and the reason I'm asking you this is like you spent 12 years dedicating your life to something. And I think, you know, sometimes when we're going through things in life and we spend 3 months doing something and then we get rejected and we're just like, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing ever. And, you know, it's all that. And you did it between the age of 7 and 19, which is like more of your life. That's like more than your life than you've even been alive. So I think that the reason that I'm asking what your reaction was to that and how you dealt with it is because it's an important lesson for anybody who's gone through something and spent 12 years. Maybe they've been in a relationship for 12 years, or maybe they've been, they've tried a business for 6 months or something and it's not working, and it's frustrating. They've got some bad news and they're getting rejected. So you then decided, you know what, I'm disappointed, I'm gutted. And that were the feelings. Was there any anger? Was there any sadness? Was there any resentment at the beginning? Because they're all normal things what people would feel. And then what did you do to take action to make sure that you had the life that you wanted, regardless of what that was?
Yeah, again, the main feelings are just gutted, disappointment, shock, because obviously I've been going to a place for 12 years and then all of a sudden tomorrow I'm not going there. So that was strange. But we just got to work and found something else, just found a solution for it. What else can I do? So I went on trial a few places, different teams, and it just came back the same similar issues, not tall enough, not big enough, all this kind of thing. So again, it is what it is, but I didn't want that to stop me. So then I got interest from America to come and play out here, and had the opportunity to go to school as well. And I would never have gone to university. I'm going to be honest. I would never have gone to university if I wasn't going to play. I had no interest in going to university. I had no interest in that. The only reason why I did my studies was because of to play football.
So then you have to do so much work to get over to America. First of all, you went to North Carolina, and then went over and did your master's degree. Yeah,
so I came out here and started to, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy school, but I always wanted to I want to get through this now so I can actually get out in the real world. When I was in school, my favorite classes were never when a teacher was just reading from a book. When a teacher came in and spoke about real life, that's what I loved and enjoyed. None of this, not reading out of a textbook or anything like that. So when someone came in and started talking about life experiences, when someone came in and started talking about finances, how to look after your money, when someone came in and talked about how they coached this person and got these Olympic gold medals, that's what I really enjoyed. So I don't have a regret score at all because I got some really good things out of it. But if I wasn't playing football, I wouldn't have gone to university. I didn't have any interest in it. I wanted to get in the real world. So when I was at undergrad, I also got another injury, which then gave me, in America, you only have 4 years to play your sport. But because I got an injury, they gave me an extra year. And again, I got an injury. And instead of being I straight away, when someone said, well, why don't you go to graduate school and play when you're in graduate school? Again, I didn't have any interest in going to undergrad. And then all of a sudden I'm saying go to graduate school. And, I looked in, I got a great opportunity to do that. And I went there and again, met some amazing people, learned a lot. Was there, I'm going to be honest, to play football. The school was just happened to be a bonus. Just again, that's where I got my master's degree in sports science and was being around some amazing people, coaches. So I'm forever grateful for that because if I didn't get injured, I wouldn't have had the opportunity. So there's a positive in everything.
Absolutely. And then you got your dream job to coach at school, and then you got that whipped away from you.
Yeah. So then I was an assistant coach for a school, which was great. Loved it there. And then just with circumstances, didn't work out. So then I had to move to a different job and took another job, which I loved again in soccer. So, grateful. And then I always find something. There's always something else you can do. I think that's the point when I get across. It's never smooth sailing. It never is. There's always something along the way. And the difference between people that make it and don't make it is just that person that makes it got up one more time. Kept going. And I've nowhere near made it. That's what I want to get. There's nowhere near made it. I know I've got a bump in the road. I just put out 4 or 5 today before we open the hill. So it is every single day there's something, but you just learn to deal with it. And you learn to have the mindset to do it. No problem, we'll get through it. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, and that's incredible. I think that's important to say is that, sometimes you can get your dream job and then 3 months later it gets taken away from you. And in James's case, it was, immigration. Where, James and I agree, we're on O1 visas, B1 visas, all the freaking visas, all the numbers and all the letters added together, right? And so, you get your dream job and then, legislation in America, government changes something. That's completely out of your hands. And you can be angry, you can be frustrated. It's like COVID right now. When businesses go down and we can't go to restaurants, we have to adapt. And that is the thing, is like James has adapted. You know, he got released from being a pro soccer player. Boom, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to go to America. Unbelievable, right? Then, you know, gets a dream job and that gets taken away. It's like, you have to adapt. And the adaptation is what's going to give you something even better. And now, you know, James then went on to another job and, you know, in the last couple of months, he's opened up 2, you know, smoothie restaurant places that are just phenomenal. They're amazing. If you're not already following it, go ahead. I'm going to put all of the links in below for the Hill Nutrition and Downtown Nutrition in North Carolina. And now, you know, he's serving people, you know, daily basis, healthy smoothie nutrition to help them with their goals. So, you know, James, like from being that to going to here and having your own business where you now own 2 properties with your fiance, Jess, like, how are you like, I don't even know how I got here. What happened? Are you just like, this is amazing? Because also James has spent 130 days in a row at these new locations every single day working his butt off. So he knows the thing of hard work. But looking back now, can you see all the dots aligned and you like, this is where I was supposed to be?
I got, you know, everyone always says everything happens for a reason. I almost feel like it happens for a reason if you sort it out, if you act upon it. You can't just say, oh, everything happens for a reason, and just sit back and just let it fall into place. Things fall into place from work and from action and from doing the nitty-gritty things that you got to do before. So yeah, it's falling into things fall into place, but I think that's because we've been put in the right scenarios and situations and dealt with any situation that's come our way. Just adapt. You know, we opened our first location March 16th. And then on March 17th, the North Carolina closed down and went in lockdown. So straight away we've opened a new business and we've got to think, okay, what do we do now, right? You know, Jess, for example, when we opened, she was just incredible how she lost her job the day we opened our first location. And then instead of her being like, oh, poor me, you know, what we're going to do, she was like, okay, great, let's go and help serve the community, some help shake. Go out there and let's just get to work. And when you're around those type of people, again, I don't like taking full credit for all of my success because I've been around amazing people, been coached and mentored, and be around that. So that I give a lot of my credit to that. So if there's anything, yeah, be around those type of people. But it's just having that no problem attitude and being able to adapt and get on with things and using every challenge as an opportunity to get better. There's always something. It's never smooth sailing. If you think it's going to be sweet all the way up to the top, it's definitely not.
Yeah, and how many nutrition, locations, how many clubs or like locations did you look at before you actually were able to sign the lease on one because of whatever reason?
Yeah, we looked at about 100 locations before we officially signed the lease. 100 in regards, we didn't like some of them. They didn't want our concept. They didn't say we didn't have a good enough financial record prior. So lots of things why we didn't find the right one. Again, everyone's like, oh, you found the right one. It's like, well, yeah, because we kept looking. It didn't just fall on your lap. It didn't fall here. We found it, and then we worked around it, and we built it. And then, it's funny, we opened that one, and then 2 months later, or 1 month later, we see another location. The first location we look at after this one, sign the lease straight away. So where you look at, London buses, you wait for one, and then all of a sudden 2 come along. Similar thing with business. You keep plodding, and then boom, there it is.
Yeah, it's so cool. And the second location is going to be open around the 20th of July. So, by the time this podcast comes out, hopefully it'll be officially open. And just to kind of wrap up here, how do you think that how do you stay motivated?
I'm very much a go person. So I love progress. I think progress is happiness. I hit a promotion a couple of weeks ago and I was happy for like 5 minutes, but it was like, okay, well, I've got to do something more now. I've got to keep going. I've got to do something else. Jess thinks I'm crazy at times because she's like, where are you going now? You're pacing around the house. What are you doing? But it's just because I like progress. And I think that's really important in regards to, go back to if people are trying to get results, right? Progress is, if you lost half a pound, that's incredible. That's progress. You keep getting better every single day at 1%. So that's how I stay motivated. I continue I want to get better every single day in all aspects of my life. And, with me, with my relationships, emotionally, physically, I want to get better everywhere. That's my biggest form of motivation. Of course, I have an end goal, or I have goals, but it's not really an end goal because I know when I hit that goal, I'm going to want to do another one.
Yeah. And what do you say to someone that's like, I just don't really know like what I want in my life, or I don't know how to get motivated. I don't know how to start.
I would first look at who has something that you want and reach out to them. If someone's successful and someone reaches out to them, they're often gonna talk or give them 5 minutes, right? As long as But I think that thing is look for people that have been there and done that and have what you want, and be around those people. Action comes before motivation. You don't just wake up all of a sudden and you're motivated. You have to do something in order to get to be motivated. And doing something could be working on yourself, could be reading a podcast, could be reading a book. Could be go and try something new. Try something new you've never done before. You might like it, and all of a sudden go and make a passion. So it's trying to do things new. Being uncomfortable, I think, is really important. You don't achieve anything in your comfort zone. So go and do something that makes you uncomfortable. Whether that's, talking to a stranger, doing something like speaking on your Instagram story. I don't know, something that makes you uncomfortable every single day. We went to an event, and a very successful lady in our business was the guest speaker, and she said, you need to have a throw-up moment every single day. You need to do something that makes you want to throw up every single day. Today, he's doing this for me. I want to throw up. I said, Rebecca, can we start early? I want to do this. I want to get it done. I want to get out of the way. Those throw-up moments, right? So putting yourself in situations that outside of your comfort zone is so key. You might find a new passion in there, but you're going to get better and you're going to try something, because if you want something you never had, again, you've got to do something you've never done. I don't believe it.
Yeah, and I think, too, if those of you who are listening, it's like, James and I, it's not anything special about us. James said this earlier. It's like, I think both of us have had such great mentors, and we've been incredibly teachable. I love to be a teacher's pet at school. I wanted to make my teachers proud. I wanted to make our parents proud. I think that's a big thing that's always stemmed inside of me. It's like, our parents have never put any pressure on us for anything, like almost to the point that I wish that they did put more pressure on us. Like, we joke about that. We're like, why didn't you put like more pressure on us? Like I would have wanted, mum to take me to more dancing things and to like push me into like this exam, but it was me. It was always me, and it was always James. So we do not have pushy parents whatsoever. And I think that sometimes they don't know where we came from, because we have this drive and determination. Do you think you're more like mum or dad?
Mannerisms like dad, but I'm more like mom.
Yeah.
But you say about pushy. I believe that if we're pushed into something, sometimes that takes away your love and passion for it. Because when you do something, if you do something without being pushed, you're doing it because it's what you want to do. So it's what you love. If you're pushed into something, you feel sort of out of control. Like, hold on a minute, this is not what I want to do. Am I just doing this because you're pushing me into it, or am I doing this because I actually want to do it? So I'm really grateful that we had parents like that who just let us get on with it. I never, ever, my dad would never, ever tell me you need to go out and do extra training, ever. But also, they wouldn't sugarcoat it. They wouldn't sugarcoat things. So if dad told me well played, you had a good game today, I knew I had a good game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important as well, because right now, everyone gets a participation medal. Everyone gets told, well done, you're doing amazing. When I grew up, I was taught from an early age, we were told that wasn't good enough. You've got to get better, because if you're not, you won't play next week. So I was told from an early age. I was also told that it's my responsibility. It's not, I've been around youth soccer, so you can imagine, I get emails, I get phone calls, I get texts. Why is my kid not playing? Why is that not doing that? Why do they come to the coach first? Why don't they go to the player and ask them, what could you have done better? What could you have done more to get into the team? Why is your responsibility always going elsewhere other than here? And that's why I've grown as a person. I'm a completely different person now than I was last year before, whatever, because I start to take more responsibility for everything that I do, my actions, right? So I think that's something that we're starting to lose a little bit with a generation, is that responsibility factor. But going back to parents, it was always our responsibility to be ready, to have our boots ready, to have our ballet shoes ready, if we want to go and do extra, we do extra. It was our responsibility. So I think that's probably why we are like we are today.
Yeah, and that's so true. It's like if someone's, if you're running a business right now, if you're losing weight and you're not getting results, it's because of you. Like it is 100% your responsibility. And we mentors are there to guide you. Like we have people that come in and we have clients, and we can push to a certain level, but we're not really there to push you. We're actually there to guide you and show you the way, and for us to lead by example. Especially when it comes to results, I just show what I do. And if you want to copy and you want to duplicate, great, right? If you want to do the business that I have, like, here's what I do. This is what I do daily. I'm very open. I'm very honest and transparent. Like James, we will guide you what to do. But if you're pushing someone into something, then they're not really going to do it for themselves. So you have to find that why inside of you of why you want to lose weight, why you want to start a business, why you want to get better grades, why you want to get a promotion at job, promotion at your work, all of those things. Because when you take responsibility for your own actions, you're going to be in control. That's what I love. It's like you take 100% responsibility and you are in control. So, I love this episode. Appreciate your time and joining me. And if you guys don't know that my brother and I work together and we help people get healthy. We help people make extra money as well. And, James joined me in the business 2.5 years ago. And it's been so fun. I think we speak more than we ever have done. We have more banter. And look, there's always times where, the two of us, I think because we always respect our mentors. And we respect other people. I think that's why we work so well together, and we very, very rarely clash, which is incredible for siblings to work in a business together, like on a daily basis, because it's like, I just go, well, I take responsibility. If I've, pissed James off or I've done that, I take responsibility. If I feel like I've whatever, I take responsibility. And I think that because we're both coming from the same page of learning personal development and just both wanting to become better. And also, I think it really is just taking 100% responsibility. I think if you do that, then you're not pissed off or mad. You're like, how can I be better? And you're right. You said that earlier. How can I be better 1% every day so that this is great? So any last remarks, James, or things that you want to add to give value to the community?
Again, it's like, 100% responsibility, but if you as a mentor or as a coach or a parent want it more than that person, it's never going to work, because people are just going to resent each other. They start to resent. So if the person wants results, they have to want it more than the coach wants it for that person. Otherwise, it won't work. And I think people think I'm quite serious, but you know me, Jess knows me, I'm really not. So I think the important thing is just don't take things too seriously. It's just don't take things too seriously. Don't get offended by everything. Don't take responsibility, and just have fun with it. Really, have fun with it, and leave an impact. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I bet Mum and Dad are going to absolutely love this episode. This is going to be hilarious. Thank you so much for your time. Guys, give it up for James, my brother. All of his details are in below. You can go and check him out at his nutrition club. You can actually go in there, go and get a shake, go and get something tasty, one of the mega teas that we have. You guys have seen some of me making them on my IGs, but they are also available in the Hill Nutrition or Downtown Nutrition. So congrats on your locations. And guys, thank you for listening for today on It Takes Grit podcast. And we will see you next time. Bye.
That grit. You're going to find that determination inside of you that says, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to keep on showing up. And I'm going to come up with a better idea. I'm going to come up with something even more incredible.